I just got off a call last week that left me staring at the ceiling for a solid 2 minutes. The potential client, it was a serious inquiry, like a real project, and we went back and forth for 20 minutes. They described the deliverables, the timeline, the vision, and every time I asked for a version of, hey, what's the budget? They sidestepped it. What do you usually charge? I want to make sure that we get in value. Let's see, where you come in at, and then we can figure it out from there. Then right at the end of the call, almost an afterthought, they said it. We're budgeted somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000. Oh, bingo. Now I can actually do my job, because here's what most people don't realize. Knowing the budget isn't about extracting the maximum. It's about knowing whether you're the right fit. And if I am building, an absolute best package that I can inside of that range without going over, that's how I turn, a 20-minute dance into a 5-figure salary. And stick around to the end, because, well, I'm going to share that exact question that's never failed me yet. There's this piece of freelancing wisdom out there that everyone likes to repeat like it's gospel. Never say your price first. Make the client say the number. But if you speak first, you lose. And I get where they're coming from, right? The fear is real. If you say, 5,000 and they were already spending 10, you just left $5,000 on the table. Nobody wants to be the person who undervalues themselves out loud. But here's where the advice breaks down in the real world. When you're on a call with a client who won't give you a number, and you also won't give them a number, you're not negotiating. You're two people circling around each other in the dark. Nobody knows, if this is even a real conversation or a waste of time. And the client who won't share their budget, I'll be honest, they're kind of being cagey, because they generally don't know what the video costs. Sometimes they've been burnt before and they're afraid of overpaying. And sometimes they're just repeating, what they've read online. Don't show your cards. Either way, the results are the same. You spend an hour on a call, you put together a proposal, you follow up, and then you find out that their budget is like $1,200 for a 3-day shoot. That's not a client. That's a calendar invite where you lose money just by showing up. So let me flip the script on this. I don't want to know the budgets because I want to know the exact maximum amount that I can charge the client. I ask because I can't do my job without it. And this is where most people get uncomfortable, because the conversation shifts from how do I win to how do I actually help this person. The real reason you need the budget is not about negotiation. Here's what I believe, and I've tested it enough times to say it confidently. If you can get someone to tell you the budget, it works in your favor and in theirs. Let me break it down, because it sounds backwards, right? If a client tells you their budget is $8,000, my job becomes simple. I look at the numbers and I ask, what's the absolute best deliverable that I can build inside that range? Can I add an extra revision round? Can I include short form cut they really weren't expecting? Can I, bump the turnaround from 2 weeks to 10 days and make them look like a hero internally? When I know the budget, I can build up, not down from my rate. I can surprise them with the value instead of surprising them with an invoice. Now, let's just flip it. If they tell me their budget is $1,500 and I know the scope they're describing is a $10,000 project, I have a different conversation with them. I don't try to squeeze $10,000 of work into $1,500. I say honestly, I don't think I'm the right fit for this. Here's what this kind of project typically costs, and here's someone who might be able to work with you in that range. I'm not losing a client. I'm preserving my, reputation and my calendar, honestly. And I promise you, that person will remember the videographer who told them the truth instead of the one who took their money and delivered something mediocre. So let me give you a real world example. The editing deal that I just landed is a 5-figure, contract of work over the next year. Started with me asking for the budget on the first call. They gave me that range. I built a package that hits the top of that range and included deliverables they hadn't even asked for or thought about. They didn't feel squeezed, they felt taken care of. And that call turned into a retainer. That's why it is the 5, right? So the budget isn't your enemy. It's the brief. You can't design a solution without knowing the constraints. So here's the practical part, because let's just ask for a budget. It's worthless knowledge, worthless advice if I don't show you, how to do it without making this awkward. How to ask for a budget, the exact script. Let me give you 3 ways to ask this question. And none of them sound like you're like a used car salesman or anything like that. Version 1, let's just get to it. The partnership frame. To make sure I build something that actually fits what you're working with, do you have the budget range in mind? Notice what's happening here. I'm not asking what they can afford. I'm not cornering them. I'm positioning the budget as a tool I need to serve them better. Build something that fits, right? I'm collaborative. I'm not extractive. Version 2, the efficiency frame. I want to be respectful of your time and, not putting together a proposal that's, way outside of what you're planning. So can you get me like a ballpark? Now I'm making it about their time, not mine, theirs. And nobody wants their time wasted. This version works especially well when the client is being vague because they're genuinely unsure, not because they're hiding something. Version 3, the honesty frame. So I'll probably say something like, I'll be straight up with you. If this is a smaller budget project, I might not be the best fit, and I'd rather tell you that like now than after you've invested time in a conversation. And if it's larger, if it's larger, I want to make sure that, I'm building something that's worth every dollar to be used well. This is the one I use when I've already felt them dodging the questions like once or twice. It's direct without being confrontational as well. It shows that you do have integrity, and here's what happened almost every time. They respect you more after you say it because most freelancers are afraid to be honest about money. You're just proved that you're not. Now here's the question nobody asks. What happens when they do tell you the budget and it's wrong? Sometimes you get the number and it's too low, way too low. No, oh no, like we can't negotiate type of low, right? Even if they're delivering the quality work inside of the budget would mean working for less than minimum wage. And here's where most videographers mess up. They take it anyway. They tell themselves that, oh, it's just one project. They'll scale it down, right? They'll use it for their portfolio. They'll make it work. But what actually happens is, you resent the project before you even open Final Cut Pro. The client, who doesn't understand how the budget is low, expects the same quality of work that they've seen from your other things. You deliver something that's fine, but not great, right? You're underwhelmed, you're burnt out. And the portfolio piece that you were hoping for, it's not your best work at all, right? Here's the alternative. When the number is too low, just say, based on what you're describing, I don't think that I'm the right fit. Look, the kind of project you're working with typically runs, from X to Y range, and that becomes available down the road. Like I'd be happy to talk with you, right? And if you need, a recommendation for someone, at that current budget, I'm happy to point you in the right direction. So you just did 3 things. You respected their budget, you educated them on pricing without being condescending, and you left the door open. I've had clients come back 6 months later with a bigger budget because of like that exact conversation. They remember the person who didn't try to squeeze them. And on the flip side, sometimes the budget is higher than what you'd quote. That happened to me actually like last week. And here's what I do. I quote under the budget and explain why. You said your range was, $10,000 to $12,000. I can deliver that for about $8,500. And here's what I'd put the difference toward if you want to expand the scope. That client now trusts you with their money. You just proved that you're not trying to max out their budget. You're trying to solve their problem efficiently. That's the kind of relationship that turns into a retainer. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Asking for a budget isn't about winning a negotiation. It's about finding out if you can actually help someone. And the fastest way to build a sustainable business is to stop chasing every dollar, folks, and start serving the customers, start serving the clients like you're actually building for them. So if this video shifted how you think about a client call, hey, look, hit the subscribe button. I got more for you. Hit the like button as well. It really helps me out. And drop a comment, because what I really want to know is, am I the only person who've gotten, stories about this when you're trying to like pull a budget like you're pulling teeth? If that's true, hey, let me know in the comments. Thanks for joining me, and I want y'all to keep creating.